we are asking that 15 hours of volunteer service be done by those that are receiving the unemployment benefits. I would love to know how your thoughts on that. And then the second thing is the drug testing concerns that we've had overall. When the cost, we understand that, but I still believe if you're sitting out there doing drugs or whatever they are, and you're not being tested on that on a regular basis, and you're still receiving those benefits, what have we done to sort of correct that?
Yes. Representative Huggins, thank you for the question. I'd like to address both of them. First of all, on the 15 hours that you mentioned of volunteer work, I don't remember a specific amount of time for volunteer work, but here's what I remember from Senator Campbell's bill that he was offering up. His bill specified that after 16 weeks of receiving compensation, after 16 weeks, 4 months, the recipient of the unemployment compensation would be asked, well, his bill said mandated to perform some type of community action work that would be specified by us. In other words, we at DO would specify what type of volunteer work could be done in the community. The Department of Labor has opined that the United States Code 41 does not allow for us to force anyone into a community service program. The federal statutes are very clear that it has to be voluntary if, in fact, there are any type of activities that someone goes into. So my position is that we want to stay in line with the federal statutes, and if we can find some way to make it a voluntary program, then, of course, I think that would meet the federal statutes. But the way it is right now, I think we will come up against the federal statutes. And the problem with federal statutes, sir, is that if we defy federal statutes and if we are decertified as a state, then we get no federal funds to pay unemployment compensation. Then the state would have that on the shoulder. So that's the first part. The second question you asked was with respect to drug testing. Representative Talon from Spartanburg had offered up a bill, and I think he went in with a couple of other members that offered a bill to drug test recipients of unemployment compensation. Our position on it is that it should be the responsibility of the employer to conduct the drug test, not randomly reach into the pool of those who are receiving unemployment compensation and then test those who are in the pool who are receiving unemployment compensation, but instead allow the employer to decide whether or not drug testing happens to be a precursor for employment, so to speak, for their firm. Now, such is the case right now. Most long-haul truckers have to go through some type of drug testing that's along the highways right now, as you very well know. But that program is not tied to unemployment compensation. So the short of it is that as long as drug testing is not a random event or a random program where we're reaching into the entire pool of those who are receiving unemployment compensation, then we don't have any significant problems with it, as long as the employer is actually conducting the drug test. And of course, there's a question with whether or not the person is tested. Does the person have an opportunity now to get retested and be clean, so to speak, and then go back? And then what happens with his unemployment compensation as a result of him being clean? So there's a little more to it than meets the eye, and I'm working with the alcohol and drug team, I said the team, but the agency here at the state to also help us go through the steps that would be necessary to help verify and validate the drug testing.